Hi everyone, and welcome to Kazuhana's Tea Room. Cassie here. I just enjoyed a nice day at the bookstore and for my matcha this morning, and it's not windy at all in the city, which is much nicer than yesterday. I kept comfort yesterday with the movies. I even watched the Violet Evergarden movie, which was highly emotional and beautiful. It was nice to be able to see it for the first time after a long while, just like that Sailor Moon movie. I haven't decided what I'm going to watch next on Netflix, but I'll decide sometime on the weekend. It's Ame's birthday, so there's a 3D concert, so that comes first. And then Mume is back from Japan. I don't know if Anna is yet, but Mume said that she's going to be doing a Q&A and a recap of her adventures in Japan. I'm glad they both came back safe and sound. I'm sure her pet animal is very, very happy too, because cats and dogs really miss their masters when they're away. And just like Ame, she couldn't possibly leave her pets alone for too long. I think going forward they only spend about a month and a half in Japan at any given time, at the most. Probably 2 weeks at the least. Most of the studio functions are in Japan, so they have to make the trek from North America to the main office whenever a big update happens, like a 3D model, a concert, or new costumes. It's fun to see what they bring back with them, and find out which Hololive members in Japan they met while they were visiting, or what culture shock they gave. I hope to go to Japan eventually one day as well, because I want to try Gyokuro for the first time, made in Japan. I've tried it here in Victoria, and it's super delicious. It's one of my favorites, next to sencha, cherry blossom green tea, and English breakfast and Earl Grey. Those are my top 5 favorites. And then I didn't really go into my favorite music too much, but I do love, as I told before, J-pop and Hololive because of the soaring melodies and the way the vocals and the catchy melodies are always interesting to the ear. I also love idol pop, which is mostly the high idol music that they have in Japan. I also love emo music and rock. Mostly all the major groups and a lot of the indie, like Simple Plan, I believe. It's hard to remember names very well, so you'll find me stuttering for trying to remember things. But one major group I like is State Champs. They're an indie group, and they have really nice emo music. I also like the Black Parade, so I don't deny that. I also love my jazz and bossa nova. I was lucky to find a YouTube channel called BGMC, which is really popular in Japan and also does music here in North America. Well, it brings music to North America via Spotify and their channel, which can be both in English and Japanese. I didn't go into depth about my favorite light novels, but I did mention that I had a huge pile to go through. my current favorites are Demon Sword Master of Excalibur Academy, which is drawn by Asagi Mama, and I Swear I Won't Bother You Again, which is one of those isekai dramas where the main character is reborn, but this time only a year out from her untimely truck demise. And she is trying to redeem herself with her sister and all the people that she had wronged in her past life, mostly because she was afraid that she was being not loved, even though most of the people that she thought she wronged loved her completely. My other favorites are The Magical Revolution of the Reincarnate Princess, which is airing now on Crunchyroll. They've got a anime deal, just like the Demon Sword Master of Excalibur Academy, which hasn't started yet but will be starting soon. I also like Silent Witch and Alia Speaks in Russian, which is done by Momoko Mama. I mostly call artists by an honorific called Mama because they do art for different VTubers, and they're their artist Mama. No relation by blood. My favorite artists, well, I mentioned Asagi Mama and Momoko Mama, and then Fumi Mama is Watame's Mama, and the big Mama that everybody admires usually is Arina Tanimura, Arina Mama. They all have beautiful shoujo style artwork, and I used to base my character on Arina's artwork in all her different series that she would illustrate. I did most of her original art first, and then moved on from there to what she has illustrated so far in Japan called Idolish. As for my fashion style, I love himikaze fashion, which is Japanese girly casual, and it's mostly pink and floral and beautiful nature element clothing. It's more lacier and more frilly than what you have in North America, and is more suited for people who love the color pink and girly outfits. It's hard to find such fashion here in North America, mostly because people like darker colors or more basic colors like black, white, yellow, green, or red. If you like a softer palette, you have to search elsewhere. Like I found my cape, which I wear often for my walks, from Liz Lisa, which has a whole bunch of himikaze fashion, like hoodies, dresses, boots, and blouses. I wear mostly sweatshirts or hoodies when I go for my walks, but I always wear the cape over it because it keeps me nice and toasty warm. It still baffles me why nobody wears capes in North America, because they're super warm and super cozy, and you can easily throw it on when you're leaving the house, and you've got complete freedom to move your arms, and you can easily get around quicker with a cape. Most is the same as the feeling of wearing a skirt. It may be colder to wear during the winter and fall months, but you can move quicker around town with the skirt, and you can easily pair it with any sort of other outfit. When it's cold out, I usually just wear nice track pants, which I was able to find one in pink from the Lululemon store. They're nice and buttery and soft, and I can also do my dancing in it. To keep my feet warm, I usually wear moccasins or riding boots because they are easy to dance in and you don't have to take your socks and shoes off. Though I do have dance shoes that I wear quite often during the summer and spring because I don't mind taking my shoes and socks off. It's cold in the dance floor, so I want to keep as warm as possible. Luckily, moccasins slip pretty easily, so you can do spins and twirls and all the dance choreography quite easily in them. The boots, well, not quite. You'd have to switch to flats to do the dance moves in. Though there was a couple of people wearing cowboy boots, so I can't really use that excuse. I just like wearing more sensible size heels, like 1.5 or 1. It's a little easier to get used to doing all the dance steps in them, and you don't have to worry about tripping. There are people who wear 2-inch heels, and I find they're very, very brave. As for my cosmetics, I usually use HanaMates, which is a Japanese brand and known for using all natural ingredients. As for my skincare, I just use Wild Gold Botanicals, which a friend of mine's sister-in-law created. It's all natural, and it's very, very herbal. And it's very gentle and gentle for sensitive skin, and it does. It's very, very powerful to get rid of any impurities on your skin without using lots of chemicals. And it's not as pricey as spas, which I used to frequent back in the day because they had this organic line called Eminence Organics. It worked, but it was way too expensive, and you'd have to go out of your way just to restock your skincare line. I don't use it as I still have interest in Eminence Organics, but not as much because of how big the price tag is, and most of spas are not within walking distance anymore. I usually pick places that are close by that are convenient. The spa that I went to was right by the ocean, so I would make it a day trip and then walk around the harbor a couple of times. There was even a trail really, really close by that was about 4 miles, and I would spend most of the day up there doing really fun things, like try different restaurants and take a lot of pictures, visit the bird sanctuary. I try to go visit during the summer because you can easily get around the trails and spend quite a long time just exploring everything. If I was in the downtown core, I would go for afternoon tea or visit the stationery shops. There's so many nice ones down by the hotel area where it's much safer than the middle of the downtown core, which has really changed over the years, where you have to actually, if you're alone, not make eye contact with people, which is sad because a lot of my cousins work down there and I could visit and then talk about family and how they are doing. We still talk during the holidays when they come over to give updates, Christmas gifts, and have nice dinners. including one that's sometimes in Chinatown, where we have gift exchanges, and our close family friends host it for us. As for my like in Chinatown, I usually loved going to dim sum. Like my grandmother would take us when we were kids to it almost every 2 months for an enjoyable afternoon tea, which is the other word for dim sum back in Chinese. My skill in Chinese, not so good. I am better in my Japanese language, though my Japanese is still around elementary school level. I can understand it. I can get the gist of what's being said, but I can't exactly speak it fluently or read it really, really quickly if there's lots of kanji in it. My kanji is lower than my kana and kana. I can read those pretty well easily. I taught myself in junior high so I could read lyrics a little easier. Because in choir, in vocal jazz, you could learn and sing different languages like Spanish, Italian, and then, of course, Japanese. We never did huge songs, but we did the generic North American Japanese songs. That's what inspired me to get into learning the real J-pop and the real idol pop. Those songs were really interesting to listen to, and anime really was the key to be able to get into J-pop. My first anime, Speed Racer, and then I also loved Ranma 1/2 and Sailor Moon, which is why I really want to see the new versions of the animes. Ranma's still a classic, so they haven't remade anything for that, but she's done her due duty of giving lots of sequels for her special, Inuyasha, by getting sequels for that, and opening museums with Inuyasha and the following series, Yashahime, featuring their daughters' adventures. I'm reading the manga right now and hoping that they'll release volume 3, which has already just come out in Japan. Many of the stuff that I love to read already are at 8 or 9 volumes. Even though I can't read it, I can at least learn about it from the artists who are on Twitter, which is a pretty lucky thing. I find that I've searched many social media sites, and Twitter's the biggest one for mangaka and light novel artists. It's very intriguing to learn about their lives, learn about what else they do other than write the manga, and find all the other art genres that they do on a regular basis that are not the mainstream. And the fact that they're not mainstream makes it harder to find them. But the upside to that is that they're more willing to talk to fans around the world on their Twitter account. For instance, Emma Toyama, who writes Missions of Love, was very, very happy to talk to me once or twice on Twitter, thanking me for saying Happy New Year and thanking me for supporting her work, because she doesn't really know about certain fans' likes and dislikes until they tell her or show their support like that. It's very, very fun it adds a different layer to becoming a fan of Japanese manga, anime, light novels, and visual novels, which is a different form of video gaming, where you're basically choosing your own adventure by picking and choosing different answers to different questions that the video game gives you to progress the story. Sometimes, if you say the wrong answer, though, your character meets their demise early, but you can always save before you answer the questions, so you can make sure that you don't accidentally off your character too early in the visual novel. I find it fun that way. I also enjoy playing Japanese RPGs like Final Fantasy, Story of Seasons, and of course Pokemon. I've already beat the newest Pokemon game, and I'm hoping to get a DLC eventually. I find open world ones appeal to me the most, because I love creating my own story. So Minecraft is definitely one of my favorites to play too. You can always make different castles and create different worlds, and even create giant huge plushies made of the wool blocks. I've made Watame Nei-chan a few times, and I've also made some Hakuoki characters. Basically, they're the Shinsengumi of the famous Japanese police squad. I've tried to make Pokemon in Minecraft, but I find it's easier to make the large anime characters more, because their figures are more distinct. I hopefully can build some more stuff when the new update comes out, and when the desert realm and the bamboo, I think I can make a true Japanese paradise. Until then, I can always download maps, which has everything pre-built, and you can download character maps, so you can customize your character in Minecraft. It's hard to do it from the default settings. I'm hoping that the weather remains like this for a while, as it's very, very calm. Thanks for listening.